This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. Got a lot to talk about today, and this is for anybody that's struggling with overwhelming anxiety. Maybe you're dealing with some sadness, just you're not feeling the joy in life that you think you should be feeling. Maybe it is depression. We're going to talk with somebody today that knows what we're talking about when we come to that word, and she's moved her life through it, so much to the fact that she's started a ministry and has become a speaker, an author, a coach, and walks that journey with you. She is Forshia Ross, and she's back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Steve. And how are you?
Very well. Good. And wonderful that you're back with us. You shared quite a journey and quite a number of major challenges in your life that took up more than half your life to get through. But I detect that through a lot of this, depression was a big challenge for you along the way. Would you say that kind of describes your life?
Actually, yes. And when I shared my journey the first time, I did not touch on my journey with depression. And because it's a lot to take in. If I try to share everything all at once, it can be a bit overwhelming, and yet it's a miraculous journey too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great description of it. And without going back into it, quite a journey and the things that you went through and the situations that you overcame.
Yeah.
Perfectly understandable to be depressed. I guess that's what I'd have to surmise from that. How did you get through it all? Even those feelings of being lost and that just disconnected from life, of sadness, and what kept you going?
Well, actually, it's even more than you described, because about a year and a half after I made that decision to turn my life over to God, just a year and a half, I had a complete mental and emotional breakdown and was suicidal and was hospitalized for a while, quite a while.
Wow.
And talk about being devastated. Here I had thought or believed that I had found the answer. And so I know there are many out there that are of faith in the God that I shared, that has experienced this, but often continue to experience this. So when I was hospitalized, I was suicidal, panic attacks, anxiety, tormenting thoughts, food issues. Oh boy, did I have food issues. Overwhelming fears of phobias. I especially had a fear of crossing bridges. Interesting, but I did. And one of the strongest things that I experienced was the fear of abandonment, which is not unusual with depression, self-hatred, and especially extreme perfectionism. That's a common ingredient in those that struggle with depression. But this is the thing. I had such an amazing, incredible experience when I turned my life over to God. I knew that that was real, and I had that experience. I believe with all my heart, Steve, God knows the beginning from the end. So he knew that I was going to go through this. I don't know all the answers to this. I don't know all the reasons why, but I do know that having gone through it and experienced victory through it, that now I can help people because I know what they feel like. I know what it's like to want to kill yourself. I know what it's like to feel like you will never make anything worthwhile of your life. And so even though I went through that, another amazing thing happened in the mental ward, which I would like to share. But before I do, is there anything you want to say before I continue?
So much.
So
Yes.
much.
It's we can never understand or really fully grasp what somebody goes through because even you telling this story,
Yeah,
you are vibrant, upbeat, beautiful, just wonderful
beautiful. Thank
energy.
you.
One would never think that you went
Right,
through that. Even
right.
the first couple of times we got together, but
I
now as we go a
know.
little bit
Yeah,
deeper into the
yeah,
depression, um,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
feelings of abandonment, many
yeah,
of us deal with that for
yeah,
all different reasons in
yeah.
different certainly the perfectionism. Why do many of
Mhm,
us do that?
mhm.
Um, to show our worth. You know, sometimes we hide behind it. There's so
That's
many
right.
different reasons.
So many
Um,
facets.
I feel I need to ask this question. So,
Okay.
when you found spirituality, you
Mhm,
connected with God.
mhm.
If I remember correctly, it's almost if you pushed it away when somebody was suggesting it, and then
Oh, yeah. I
finally
argued. Yes.
accepted it,
Yeah.
and now you're a year and a half or so
Yeah.
in of having that mindset,
Yeah.
and then you find yourself depressed and going through some big challenges
Yes.
once again. How did you
Mhm.
still have your faith in a God and then continue to pilot to where you are today? You didn't give up.
Perfect setup, Steve, for what I wanted to share. So, one of the days in the mental ward, and I have to say it's a terrible place. It is a terrible place. And yet, in some ways, I did feel safe because I I needed help too, uh, uh, and and I didn't know what was happening to me. But one day, when my husband and my daughter and my son, he was only 8 months old at the time, came to visit me, it was a very bad day. It was the day where I said, I just don't want to live anymore. I believe what happened to me happened when I gave my life to God, but this this was beyond my scope of coping. And and I did feel like I had failed too because I felt like I by faith I didn't have any other than excuse me that experience that I had had. So anyway, my husband and my daughter and son are sitting before me. My husband's trying to take care of the kids, and he doesn't truly understand what I'm going through. I kind of don't either. And my son has mismatched clothes on. And that just broke my heart as a mom. I said, I can't even take care of my family. So I left the visiting time. And there's something about in the mental ward, at least where I was, that they lock you in. I walk through these locked glass doors, something about those keys because then they had keys to lock you in. Now I don't know if they use keys to do that. It's probably a touch of a button. And I thought, I just have to be alone and just cry. I didn't know what else to do. Now, this was visiting day. So I go to my room, and I was sharing a room with a young teenage girl who had tried to slit her wrist in high school. And by the way, the highest percentage of people that struggle with depression are young people now. Highest percentage.
Specifically, and you can check with the CDC, this was
Yeah.
what it was like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Teenage girls. So much, in fact, that
Yeah.
50% of them have thought about taking their life.
That's right. So I went to the room. I thought if I can just be alone and just cry my heart out, but she was she was in her father's lap crying her heart out. So I thought, oh gee. So I try to find another room because sometimes you can find another room that's empty because it's visiting day. I go to another room. Same thing happened. Woman in there crying her eyes out. And I remember thinking, Steve, the whole world is crying today. That's what I felt like.
And
No
and
hope.
were you trying to seek these rooms out because you just wanted to cry, just be alone?
I did.
Hmm.
So finally, I found a third room. Nobody was in there. I ran to the bed, and I fell on the edge of the bed on my knees. And I just began I mean, the sobs were pretty deep. Hopeless. We talked about hope last time, but I felt hopeless. And all of a sudden, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I felt it. I didn't turn around. I didn't even need to. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was Jesus. I knew it. And I felt the hem of a garment brushing across the edge of my heels. And immediately, a peace and a joy, just it's like it came from heaven, just came over me all the way to my toes, just filled me with this joy and this peace. And something else happened. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw it was like the whole room was kind of dark. It was like sparkly. It was like an energy in the room. That's the only way I can explain it. An energy that I had never seen before, little sparkles. I could still see it now. And I knew that God had deposited in me a hope that I would get better because I did not get better right away. I was released, but I didn't get better right away. It would be a long journey, almost 10 years of struggling with depression. But God showed me that He was going to bring healing to my life through learning to listen to His voice and believe the Word of God, the scriptures. Didn't mean I wasn't on medicine. I don't have anything against medicine. God uses medicine, and medicine, helped save my life during that time. So it'd be a long journey in discovering how God was going to heal me because this course that I created about a year and a half ago, it's a faith-based approach to overcoming depression. And I put a disclaimer in there because it's not anything that is going against medical doctors or medicine or anything like that. In fact, I talk about that. But last time we talked, I mentioned God's hope is different than man's hope. And hope is commonly used to mean a wish, but you mentioned it. Well, if somebody's sick, I don't remember exactly the example you used. If somebody's sick, you're hoping they will get better, right? But its strength is in the strength of our desire. We hope that someone will get better. We hope that things will turn out. But God's hope is different. God's hope is based on His character and His faithfulness. Doesn't mean things may not turn out like we want. People do die, don't they? We pray for people and sometimes they die. I pray for healing. Sometimes they die. But I've prayed for healing too. And I've seen people get healed too, miraculously. So God's hope does not disappoint. And so through that journey of the 10 years, I did not know that God was going to use, just like my testimony I shared in the beginning, use all of these experiences to help people because I have a plethora of experiences and I've touched the depths of, of emotional pain. I know what it feels like. But you know what? Even in the hospital, I discovered, Steve, they take everything away from you before you go in, that you might harm yourself. But if you want to kill yourself, you can do it in there. Because one night I was going to do that. I couldn't take it anymore. And I thought, I'm just going to take the belt from my robe. I'm going to do it that way. But you know what happened? It was like a strength so minute, it's even hard to explain it. There was just a strength that came up in me, and I don't believe it. I know it was God that kept me from that. And only God has the power to do that in some those situations when there's no other answers. And so God is a God of hope. And I've done conferences of overcoming depression. And I actually have, and I wanted to know if I could share this. I have Keys to Emotional Wholeness. It's like a free 5-day challenge that people can sign up for. And it'll help them, you know, that the one thing you don't want to hear from people when you're depressed is just get over it.
Mm, yeah. Like that is that is the worst thing. Um,
Pull yourself up by the bootstraps, right? What do you do if you can't or don't know how?
yeah.
So anyway, that's another testimony. Yep, I'm a miracle. I am.
Yes, you are. And did you ever, after you found God, now you're in this situation
He
now?
found me.
Okay,
Just to let you know.
gotcha. And
Yeah,
you're in the well, he may have already found you, but you didn't realize it until a certain
you're
point.
right. You are right. I agree.
So you're in that hospital.
Yeah. Mhm.
Did you ever at one point say, What's going on? Why?"
Yes.
Okay. Because you
Yes.
didn't say that, and I was wondering
Yes.
if that
Oh,
never came
yes.
up, and that maybe
Yes.
because you had hope and faith at that time, but and
Yeah.
did you be honest here as you always
I,
are?
yeah.
Was there a little bit of anger infused in that? Listen,
Yeah.
I embraced you, I welcome you, I got you. What are
Yeah.
you doing? What's going on here?
I would have never wanted to tell people that before I was taken to the hospital, I was starting to have problems with anger. And I remember I got so mad at my husband. Here I am, turn my life over to God and want to be this. That's the thing, too. I wanted to be this perfect Christian. I wanted to be like Jesus. I wanted to be like him. Only thing is, there's only one. But,
But
but
okay, there's only one, and
yeah,
there's people in our lives where we look at them and like I can't be them because
right.
they're a certain person. It would be
Yeah,
wonderful if you could. You
right.
shouldn't compare
Yeah,
either to
yeah,
people.
of
But
course.
did you feel that, well, I can't even come close
Mhm.
because it's like I'm a car driving down the road.
Yeah,
I got three flats.
yeah.
It's overheating, i.e. meaning,
Mhm.
at that time, and I
Yeah,
mean this in with love, you're broken. We're
yeah,
all broken, but
yeah,
you,
yeah.
you know, you had an extra couple of cracks in your shell at that moment.
Mhm.
And probably that was feeling defeated where I can't be the person I want to be because I'm here.
Mhm. You know what I think? And I'm reminded of this because I had found, let's say, for lack of a better way to say it, I'd found the perfect person. I'd found the answer. or he had found me. But then,
He let me down.
no, it wasn't so much that, it was that I felt like I had left him down. Here I am in the hospital.
But what are you going to do about that? You can't do anything about that.
Well, I know you, I knew that well, I didn't know that so much then because I was very sick, very, very suicidal, very emotionally broken. And so I just felt like, wow, I found the answer and this doesn't work either. But there was no sense of turning away from it because I knew what had happened to me
Mm.
was real. It was too powerful. And so God knew when I ran to that room that I probably, Steve, I probably would have committed suicide not too much later or after that. But he knew that and he came and he touched me. This was a thing too. Imagine this, that the God of the universe would humble himself and come into a place like the mental ward. Come where I am.
Well, would we say that God is everywhere, though?
Yeah, I know. But I was so overwhelmed with that knowledge that he came down low to help me. And yeah, why? You're right, I did. Why is it taking so long, this over 10
But
years?
I have
Why
one.
is it taking so long?
We're
Yeah.
out of time. I have one.
Oh,
I know. I have one final question for you.
yes,
Through all of this,
yes.
did you always feel like you had a safety net
Well,
in God?
I'm not sure how to answer that. Well, I knew he was real. I knew his spirit, when I accepted him, had entered into my heart. So that he was my safety net. That's the only
Yeah.
thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And even though, let's be honest, you might have been a little frustrated. Like, why
Oh,
am I
a lot.
why am I going through this?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I gave you I
Oh,
gave myself to you,
you
and
said we were out of town, but one more scripture that I've always loved, and it says, God, Satan meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. So he turns everything around for good, even the bad things, if we put our hope in him.
mm,
How's that?
love that. Love that.
All right.
And that's inspirational, for many of us looking for answers. And I don't do politics or religion. I'm just saying, um, I'm open to anything. Let's just put it that way.
Are you still looking for another sign? See if he's real.
um, I always am from everything and everyone. And
Good.
that's the nature of me. But I'm here to tell you there are things along my life that I've gotten signs and I share them and I can't punch a hole in that. And that's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
maybe
Amen.
that's faith for others as you provide it. Your website is your name,
Yes. Yes.
ForshiaRoss.com, actually .org, and that's ForshiaRoss. Thank you for today. Thank you for being the light and having the courage to tell your story to help others. I really appreciate it, and looking forward next time we get together.
I'll see you next time. All
Got
right.
it. Bye.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.